if you have separate property and then you marry, okay, and from that point to a divorce, if the separate property appreciates, is that amount community property, or does that still stay separate?
No, the growth on the separate property would still be separate property. If you turn back to page 1, you asked an excellent question. Under Roman numeral 4, right down there where it says community right of reimbursement, okay, this is where it gets hard and it makes people's brains hurt, because what does that mean? Kind of going along with what your question is, under A, it says, even though a spouse may have no ownership interest, if the owning spouse uses community or commingled funds, the other spouse may have a right to have the proceeds of a sale of the separate property applied to reimburse a homestead, or basically the community assets. So let's say, for example, she had that home, but there was a note on that home, and they get married, and then they start using their community property, which by definition, anything acquired as an employee, you know, your wages are going to be community property. So they start using those community property funds to pay down that mortgage on that separate property of hers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The community that through those funds that way would have a right to reimbursement of those funds, because they helped, the community helped grow her separate property, so that community has a right to reimbursement. When is that important? When the divorce happens. And so when you start seeing people bicker, that's the kind of stuff that really causes the bickering, is because, you know, here someone thinks they have this property that's completely theirs and separate, and then the smart lawyer on the other side comes in and says, yes, but you've been using for the past 20 years proceeds from the community to maybe fix the air conditioning on this property, to, you know, to pay down the mortgage, to do all these, you know, have a brand new pool put in, whatever, you know, whatever you did, this community property now has, community has a right to reimbursement. But it cannot change face. It's always separate property, okay, and unless they state it otherwise down the road. But it's always going to be separate property. It's just the right to reimbursement under that example.